On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks night goes from bad to worse. They get dominated by the Golden State Warriors, and then Tim Hardaway Jr. breaks and fractures his fifth metatarsal. We will talk about what all that means and what it means for the Mavericks the rest of the season, and in the trade deadline, what it means for Tim. Break it all down on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
The Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen every single day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, where you can watch us. We're getting closer to 10K. Subscribe if you haven't already. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Check out prizepicks.com. Use the promo code NBA or go to your app store and download the app today. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. And joining me, as always, my co-host, contributor, writer at Mavs.com, the beat down dude, the one more thinking. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
All right, I tweeted this out after the game. This is my stance. This is what I'm staying on. I don't care what y'all think. You can't convince me otherwise. I think before
Die Hard's a Christmas movie?
before Dirk's retirement game, his jersey retirement.
Yeah.
I think there's a little handshake. It's like, hey, listen, give us this game. Give us this game. Let us beat you. Like, lose this game. It's Dirk's night.
Steph,
I mean, Steph, man,
pull your
just
punches, bud.
miss some shots. We'll get some barbecue brought in after the game. We'll, any of the pull out all the bells and whistles there. Make this deal with the agreement of, hey, if you lose this game, we'll guarantee you that we'll lose. We'll lose when we play you guys up in Golden State. You'll probably have Clay back then, so it'll be a good home game for you guys. Yeah. Make sure you get that dub with Clay in the building, and that's what happened. So I kind of just wrote it off. I'm like, hey, you know what? We beat him when Dirk's jersey went to the rafters, and that was just kind of the deal.
You take the 17-point win in Dirk's jersey retirement game, and then you spot the Warriors what was it? What did it end up being? A 38-point win against them at home? Hey, you'll take that, right? It's 1-1.
Yo, listen, you're hurting our defensive numbers. We said we would let you win this game, but we didn't say you'd put up 130. We're trying to really live by these defensive numbers right now.
Yeah, the Dallas Mavericks defense goes from 4th to 5th in the NBA after this game. Literally dropped a whole spot because of how bad it was. But yeah, the defense in this game and all that was bad. But Tim Hardaway Jr. came down on his left leg during the game and seemed to have fractured his fifth metatarsal, which is his pinky toe, which is the injury that Zion Williamson has right now, and he's been out for a while. Kevin Durant has had this injury before. There's a lot of good stuff from In Street Clothes about this and some others that I retweeted if you want to go look at my Twitter account.
Theo Pinson, I think.
In Street Clothes mentioned the nature and location of the break in the fifth metatarsal fracture is key to recovery. According to my NBA injury database, he has this whole crazy database of every injury that's happened ever. The average time lost for an in-season fifth metatarsal fracture is about 42 games, roughly 10 to 11 weeks. So it would seem that Tim Hardaway Jr.'s season is over at this point. This is pure speculation. We're not sure the nature of it. Like he said, the location of the break in the metatarsal is very important. So we're going to pull the Jason Kidd line. He's a basketball player, and we're not doctors. So we're just we're going to go with that and say, let's just go with it that Tim Hardaway Jr. is out for the rest of the season. Like, that timetable says maybe he's back for the playoffs, right?
I was going to say regular season. I think it would be. I mean, once again, we're not doctors. We don't know we're recording this after the game, about an hour after the game. So, we might get a better official time frame by the time you listen to this pod. But yeah, I mean, I think if you operate, hey, he's out for the rest of the regular season, probably the playoffs, but at least the regular season, then I think that's safe to assume probably.
10 weeks would take him literally right to the end of the regular season. The Mavericks finished the season April 10th, and 10 weeks would take it to April 5th or 6th. right? Like that's right. That 11 weeks
Yeah.
would take it right to the second week of April there.
I mean,
So,
if you just work with the 42 games, I mean, we're right at the halfway
right,
mark of the season basically right now.
however you
so.
want to make the math work.
Yeah.
That's
So I
however.
mean,
if you want to use weeks, if you want to use games, either way, it seems like Tim's season could be over for the Mavericks. So,
and it does. Let's say he's not there for the first round of the playoffs. Like if they do make a run, it wouldn't shock me then if it's like, ooh, Western Conference Finals, Tim's back.
right.
Like
Wow. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, we're obviously doing the math here. It'd be more likely if they made a run that he could come back, later on in the playoffs.
Yeah. There's also a chance that he's the Caron Butler of this team, and the Mavs go on to win the finals.
Whoa, just tossing that up there.
In street close also, or somebody
Caron
tweeted
was
out.
pretty good.
Somebody tweeted out today that the Mavericks fans should be used to this injury because Roddy B and Dominic Jones both had the exact same injury in the 2011 season.
Dojo.
That's pretty crazy.
That's pretty wild.
But yeah, so what does this mean for Tim? What does this mean for the Mavericks for the rest of this season? How do the Mavericks replace him? Jason Kidd was asked this question after the Warriors game. How do the Mavericks replace Tim Hardaway Jr.'s production? He says they don't think they can, which I think is just giving Tim credit for the production that he's brought this team at least. But Tim has been really struggling this year. We've been talking about how Tim has been just having a really bad year. He's been frustrated. You can tell from his play. But what does this mean for the Mavericks for the rest of the season? Let's not get into trade stuff just yet.
Yeah, just basketball wise, I mean, you're losing some offense. I mean, pretty obvious here. Breaking news: you're losing offense with Tim because outside of that, we know he struggles a lot with playmaking. We know he struggles a lot defensively, but he's turned into the scoring punch off the bench. He's been coming off the bench basically all season. He started 20 games, but out of his 41 games, he's came off the bench, or 42 games, came off the bench for 22 of those. But he's averaging 30 minutes off the bench, 14 points a game. You just do like a scoring breakdown of the team right now. Luka's around 26 a game. Look at KP's right at 20. And then you look at Brunson around 16, Tim around 14. So, you're losing your fourth highest scorer on the team. You're losing a guy who logs the fifth most minutes a night on the team. So, I think you obviously just look at the bench unit then and say, all right, well, who's going to play up, right? Like, now we've been talking about this team, this rotation of, well, do they have a bunch of guys. COVID happens. Guys like Frank Ntilikina starting, Josh Green's getting extended run. Theo Pinson, played some. Now he's earned a spot for the rest of the year. It's like, all right, well, who's going to be the guy? Reggie Bullock. Is it going to be a collective thing to where we're going to see, Reggie's averaging around 23 minutes a night right now. Will we see Reggie go up to like 26, 27? Then will it be Frank Ntilikina? Then will it be, Sterling Brown was out tonight. I think I'll be really curious to see how the minutes shake out collectively between Sterling, Reggie, Frank Ntilikina, Josh Green, those four guys.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, but you do also lose the potential for Tim Hardaway scoring as well. Not just like you're losing scoring. I mean, you look at this game, this Warriors game the Mavs lost tonight. 31 bench points for the Mavs, 71 bench points for the Warriors, right? I mean, that is an extreme example of this, a symptom of what the Mavericks are going to be missing when Tim Hardaway Jr. is gone, because he was their scoring punch off the bench. With Jalen Brunson no longer coming off the bench, the only scoring punch off the bench you really have was Tim Hardaway Jr. And this season he had 11 games where he had 18 or more 18 to 29 points. That's it's a fourth of his games basically. So you got to find somebody that in a fourth of their games they can give you that kind of production and replace some of that. I'm not sure they're getting that from any one player unless the Mavs get Dragic, right? Like unless they get somebody like that. I don't see anybody else on this Mavericks team. Trey Burke maybe coming in, but he's not filling it up that same way. But that's what the Mavericks are going to be missing.
Yeah, I was saving the Dragic thing for the next segment because I think it does put a bigger emphasis on that now. If it's not Dragic, it's somebody else. Maybe coming up after the break, we could talk about some potential replacements offensively. But it's just what you're saying. Like, of those guys that I mentioned that could get more minutes in light of Tim being out, Sterling, Frank Ntilikina, Josh Green. None of those guys are guys that you're saying, hey, be our scoring punch off the bench.
No, they're not that type of player.
They're not that type of player. So now you do have this kind of, you're going to try to kind of balance these minutes, JB, Luka, and all of that. KP, they might be a little bit more cognizant of that. But however you feel about Tim Hardaway and the season he's having, where he struggles and all of that, you are losing a scoring punch off the bench right now that they have to figure out.
Absolutely. We'll get into that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. All right, Isaac, let's play a game. For everybody that loves the NFL like we do, let's play a game, everybody together.
Let's do it.
Prize Picks, this is how it works. I just pulled up Prize Picks, and they have the 4 quarterbacks for the weekend's games. Whoever wins this weekend in the NFL is going to the Super Bowl. That's basically what we've come down to. And each quarterback has a number of how many yards they're going to throw, and we have to guess an over or an under of that. And then we can put down amount of money, and then we can win a certain amount of money. I have $100 to play with right now.
Okay.
In my Prize Picks account. So I'm just going to put it all on. I'm going to put it all on the line today on this one.
All right.
Or maybe I'll go half. I'll go 50 so we can do it again another time.
I love
Joe Burrow, 280.5. Over under. We got to go quick on this. Over under.
Over. Yeah.
Over. Heck yeah. Patrick Mahomes.
The only way they're going to have a shot in this game is a shootout. So
Pat Mahomes, 283.5. That's over.
I think so. I'm more confident in Burrow, but
Jimmy Garoppolo, 210.5. That's way down. I think I'm going under on that with the Rams defense.
Yeah.
And then Matt Stafford, 270.5. I think I'll go under on that one too. I think that's going to be a defensive game. But yeah, that is a really good one. If I do all 4 of those and I put down $20, I can win $100. If I go ahead and put the 50 like I'm going to, I can win $250 on Prize Picks. So go check it out. Prize Picks. Use the promo code NBA. Prize Picks, daily fantasy made easy. All right, Isaac Harris, let's get into the ramifications of Tim Hardaway Jr.'s injury. We're not even 24 hours removed from this, but we have to talk about it. I recorded an episode with Jake Fisher that's going to drop in a couple days of some rumors and things happening around the Mavericks. I asked him about Tim Hardaway Jr.'s trade value, and we had some talks about it, but this affects the Mavericks now looking at the trade deadline. I mean, even Brian Anderson and Stan Van Gundy with Grant Hill just sitting there saying nothing. We're talking about this for a little while on the broadcast tonight, saying the Mavericks now need to make a trade. I'm not sure I'm there yet with them. The Mavericks have to make a trade now that they're without Tim Hardaway Jr. Are you at that point?
Man, I think trade. Let's replace trade and say they need to make an addition, whether it's through a buyout, like, if it is Dragic, whatever it is, they do need another bench piece at this point. I'm comfortable of saying that. I love those guys, but you are already asking a lot out of a Jalen Brunson, continuing this kind of step forward in his career. You're asking a lot out of, Kristaps Porzingis as he's staying healthy right now, and now you're losing that other scorer. Like, I think they do need to make some type of addition, whether that's a trade or not. Like, and you brought up the Dragic thing. I had a note. I was going to bring it up. We know all the connection with Dragic in Dallas, and we know that whole story. And, I feel like people's even reported on that, Dallas just waiting it out. Like, Dragic's probably going to get bought out, whether it's by Toronto or Toronto makes a bigger deal and that other team buys Dragic out or whatever. It's some people are like, it's inevitable, whatever. I think it puts a bigger, emphasis on it now that, and they really need that to happen, unless they swing for something bigger, right? And it's really shaken up and it's whatever. I think they do need a Dragic or somebody else to come off that bench and score some points.
I'll take it a step further. I'm not sure who else they're getting besides Dragic that can replace the production of what Tim Hardaway Jr. was bringing. Right? You look at Dragic last year. He had. I
don't know what the thing of Dragic right now. I love Dragic. I think he'd be good in Dallas, but it's also like an assumption too, because we haven't really seen him a lot this year. So is he still good? I know Slovenian fans.
He still has that potential in a way that I'm not sure anybody else that the Mavs could get, either in a buyout or in a small trade that they could do on the side.
Yes, that's why I'm all for it. I'm just saying, I also don't want us to have this assumption of
he's going to come in and
if
save
Dragic
everything.
suits up tomorrow, it's going to be, that Miami playoff run with Dragic a few years ago. It's like we haven't really seen Dragic play very much this year. So
no, and I think some people have gotten confused by what these guys think that Dragic is going to save the Mavs. Like, that's not what he's going to. He's going to come in and be a bench scorer that I hope can score in double digits and can lead the offense those few moments when Luka isn't on the floor, Brunson's not on the floor, and or the Mavs offense isn't going. He can come in, right the ship a little bit, be a little bit of a veteran leader, come in and maybe have some games where he has 20 points like every, 8th game or something like that. Or
give
he
us
just goes
20 minutes. Give us 20 minutes.
Give him 15 to 20 minutes, right? Where it's just another solid player that you can trust with the ball in his hands that'll get other people involved, right? Trey Burke doesn't do that. And then end of list. None other player on the Mavericks bench are doing those things right now. So yeah, that changes things. Now the Mavericks probably cannot put Tim Hardaway Jr. in an actual trade though. So what does that do for the Mavericks pieces now?
I would say it does. Yeah, it does. If we're just focusing, once again, I hate this so much for Tim because Tim's such a competitor, and we all know he went through the whole leg injury and stuff, a few years ago, and
it's that same leg, I think.
Same leg, everything. He's such a fiery competitor. That's why when the play happened, watch the replay over and over again. I'm like, dang it, man! Like
he knew too. He stayed on the ground. He tried to get up. He's like, and then we can.
Yeah. So anyway, I hate that. As we're just talking about it from the angle of like trade deadline coming up and all of that, like you can't help. Like he is a bigger contract on the team, $20 million. So if they, if they're swinging for something bigger before the deadline, I think those odds probably, went down a lot. If you're not going to be trading Tim at this point, even if they plan on it anyway before the deadline. But yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult. And unless it's something bigger with Porzingis at 30 million and stuff, but if it's not anything like that, a bunch of money, then you're looking at the Dwight Powell contract. What out there could they realistically go out and get with the remaining money on the team? Because obviously you're not trading Luka, he makes 10, so then you're just looking around your contracts then. So
say what Luka makes.
No, I'm just saying, like, there's only so many players on the team that makes over, double digit, as far as over $10 million on the team if you're trying to match salaries. And, it's just part of it.
It is part of it. And so now, yes, it makes it that much harder for the Mavericks to make a deal. Tim Hardaway Jr. wasn't coming up in trade rumors for other teams. It's not like, the Bleacher Report article said that the teams are circling the waters on Dorian Finney-Smith and Brunson for a reason. Those guys have been good this season. They have good contracts. They can be re-signed this offseason. Tim Hardaway Jr. has not been playing this well, and teams apparently are fickle in the way that they evaluate talent. So,
but even if teams are out there calling for Dorian and Jalen Brunson, let's just say Maxey makes a little bit more money than those guys around 8, but let's just say Dorian and JB, most of the targets of these other teams that Dallas be interested in, they make more money than what JB makes, or they make more money than Dorian makes. So you have to have these contracts to match. And that's where a contract like Tim would have came into play for a bigger deal or something, because he obviously makes around that $20 million mark. So it definitely probably took some trades off the table for them if they were thinking about it, but we'll see.
Unless it was with the Thunder, they'll take anybody. Spring them on. Injured, sure, we'll take your. It's whatever it says on the Statue of Liberty is what the Thunder agreed. All right, coming up, let's get into this game. The Mavericks got beat by the Warriors, but there's some things we can take out of it. Jason Kidd had a couple of really interesting comments after the game, and then Porzingis, he's just going after the ball, man. Like he hates that basketball so much right now. Just like his owner, blaming the ball for his bad play. We'll talk about all that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about Built Bar. It's a protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. After a loss that you just can't take, you can't stomach a Built Bar. Eat one of those. The chocolate will get you up. If you ever read any of the Harry Potter books, what does Lupin always tell Harry and all the rest of them after they see a Dementor, after they run into one of the most terrifying things you can run into?
They saw a Built Bar.
Get some chocolate in your system. Eat some chocolate in your system. That'll boost your overall mood and everything. That's what Built Bar can do for you. So go check it out. Coconut brownie chunk is the best flavor. 150 calories, 15 grams of protein, 7 grams of sugar. We know. We've tried pretty much all of them. We know that coconut brownie chunk is the best one. I also love the churro puff one. Mint brownie is solid. Cherry barcia if you like a little fruit in there. So go check it out. Built.com. Use the promo code LOCKED15. You get 15% off at built.com. Get your Built bars right now. 15% off. Locked 15 is the promo code built.com. All right, Isaac Harris. Now let's talk about this game. The Mavericks, I haven't said the score. Mavericks lose 130-92 to the Golden State Warriors in their
You didn't have to say it.
In their handshake agreement that they gave up the Dirk Nowitzki jersey retirement night in order to lose this game. Luka was Luka, though. 7 of 17, hit 4 of his 7 threes, and was 7 of 7 from the line, which is
Didn't miss a free throw. Let's go.
Which is apparently an ungodly amount of free throws if you ask any of the Warriors blogs out there.
Okay.
25 minutes, 8 boards, only 3 assists for Luka, but only 2 turnovers in just 27 minutes. Luka was Luka, and this is what Jason Kidd had to say after the game. Luka was Luka at the beginning. We just couldn't get anybody to join him, which has been a phrase that I think Mavs fans and a lot of people have been saying to themselves and saying online for a long time. And I found it interesting that a Mavs coach said it out loud.
Yeah, I mean, I think that quote's probably going to be passed around a little bit. This won't be the last game that fans will reference this quote. I felt like early on, it was a little bit of Steph versus Luka national TV game. It was fun. I thought that first quarter was a lot of fun. Luka felt like he was feeling it pretty early on. Once again, I do think he's lost weight. I said that the other day, but he does look slimmer out there. Look like he's moving a little bit better. Yeah.
He wouldn't even have gotten Andrew Wiggins to foul him those 3 times early in the game. Earlier in the season.
Shout out to Clay, though. I'm so happy to see Clay back. I mean, it sucked that he was hitting some shots against Dallas. I'm like, can you
see captain?
But yeah, I love watching him play basketball. But yeah, Luka was Luka. I mean, he only played 26 minutes in this game. A lot of it had to do with the blowout, but didn't miss a free throw. It's we've talked about his free throws since he came into the league and trying to get that percentage up. And yeah, it's just early on you couldn't really. There wasn't another consistent option early on, and that was what was frustrating. I mean, they were just daring Kristaps Porzingis to take threes.
I could see how you would come to the conclusion Luka has to pass more. Luka has to get other people involved. It's the Donnie Nelson at the end of last season quote where Luka, his next step is to get more people involved, to pass the ball. I can see how you can come to that conclusion after this, but I think Luka has to make those decisions about each individual game so quickly. Yeah. Okay, can I trust people in this game? Do I have to just ISO and do it himself? And I think he has to make that decision so quick. And in this game, he just decided, all right, KP misses his first 5 threes. Okay, I'm going to ISO the next couple of plays, and we're just going to go for it. Okay, Dorian misses some threes. We're just going to isolate. Maxey misses some threes. We're just going to go ahead and isolate and get my own buckets because we have to score points. I think that's what's going through Luka's mind in some of these games. He's Thanos and takes the gauntlets. It's fine. I'll do it myself, right? And so I can understand how you could come up with, okay, well, he only has 3 assists in this game. Jason Kidd had another quote after the game I found very interesting. He said, this is probably going to be our lowest total passes per game in this one that we've had in a while. And I found that quote interesting. And I'm not sure it's directly related at Luka because I think everyone else kind of fell into that in this game as well. But it starts with him.
Yeah, I mean, I thought TNT put up a graphic on the screen that was so telling of a season, shooting wise. They had that half screen graphic. Wasn't even half screen. It was, I don't know, a quarter screen on the left hand side. And it was the drop in 3-point percentage for the Mavs roster this season. And it was minus 7%.
I actually have it in front of me. Luka -6 percentage. I think this is percentage points too. It's not like 6% down. It's weird how numbers work out. But Luka 6 percentage points down. KP 9 percentage points. Brunson 8 percentage points. Hardaway 5 percentage points. Finney-Smith only 2 percentage points. Kleba 5 percentage points. Mavericks shooting 33% from 3, 26 in the NBA. It's everyone's down.
Yes, everybody's down. It's you look at this game. They were 10 of 40 from 3 in this game, 25%. I mean, Dorian 0 for 3. Reggie Bullock 0 for 4, Josh Green 0 for 3. I mean, That's 0 threes between those guys. But then you even look at Porzingis is 1 for 7, Brunson 1 for 2. Like it's just you just can't. I mean, Tim was 1 for 3 before he went out. It's just you just can't win, let alone get assists.
And then there's Kristaps Porzingis, who started the game off really cold from 3, couldn't hit a 3, and I tweeted during the game, if Luka and KP, dang it, if they could hit 40% of their threes each, I swear the Mavs would win the title. Right? Like if those two guys could just get going, just those two guys, forget the other ones, forget Tim or Brunson, whoever. If just Luka and KP could hit their threes, this would just be a completely different team. It would change the dynamics of the entire offense. But Porzingis was not playing the best, and then KP. It was early in the third quarter. 8 minutes left in the third quarter. He misses an entry pass on a dive. He cuts to the basket. Finally, the Mavericks actually cut, and the pass goes off his foot. He gets frustrated. The ball bounces off the stanchion, and then he just punts it. Punts it so high. I think it would have gone off the arena jumbotron at AT&T Stadium for the Cowboys. I think it would have bounced off that, but he punts it into the stands.
He might be better than Zerline.
That's an immediate ejection. They were calling him Legatron after the game. And then he goes out. Now, we also, a couple days ago while you were out, we talked about how Porzingis threw the ball at the bench and was frustrated with himself during that Thunder game and just wasn't having it. So that's 2 times now we've seen KP just be frustrated, and it's been confirmed to us that he was frustrated about his own play, right? It's not the Luka stuff. It's not all that stuff again. He's just frustrated in the way that he's playing, and you can't blame him at this point.
And he instantly knew it too. I mean, I kind of felt for him of like, we've all made decisions when we're mad, frustrated, and how many times have we made decisions, a decision we hate, and we hate it literally like 5 seconds or 10 seconds later. Like I feel like we've all said something to, our significant other or something like, dang it, man. Like, I know I just said that. I shouldn't have said that. And he kind of had that like face when he was like leaving. He's like, my bad, looking at the fans and stuff. He knew immediately that he messed up. And so I kind of felt for him. Like, hey, you messed up, and that's part of it.
And I have always appreciated, after every bad game he's had for the Mavericks, for the most part, in the COVID era, the availability of media is not like that consistent, but he has always faced the media and always been honest, or at least earnest, about his play, about where he is, and about all that. I've appreciated that about Kristaps Porzingis. He doesn't seem to hide from that kind of stuff. He'll face the music, basically, is what it seems.
He's always been a good quote and very honest with media. And
now that being said, he was awful on offense in this game.
Oh yeah. I mean, it just wasn't his night at all.
No, and it was bad, and he is the one, I think. It's still like, now with Tim Hardaway Jr. out, we talked about, can they replace somebody? Him and Brunson have to take that step, right? They have to take that step up. They have to play. Brunson has to continue the play that he has been playing, and KP has to, all right, 20 points a game. Let's get 23, 24. Got to hit one more 3 a game, right? Hit something else. Create something else. His defense has been there. I thought in this game, his defense was still good. He had a couple of blocks. He had a couple of, it was a weird game for him overall. He had some bad closeouts and things like that, but he had some good rebounds, some good blocks. His defense has been there, and now it just has to be. Can't score 9 points in 25 minutes if you're the $30 million player, right? It just, and he knows it, and that's why he punted the ball.
Yeah, for sure. I think something else with Tim, I hate to do like, I mean, we're just being honest though. I hate to do like, hey, the positive of him being out thing, but he has struggled really, really bad defensively. I mean, I was just texting somebody in the first half of this game of some plays. He missed this really bad box out on the weak side that Wiggins just came out and just grabbed the rebound and whatever. And so you are, at least in that bench unit, you're losing the offense, which they have to figure that out. But you are gaining some more defensively off the bench if those minutes are going to a Reggie, Josh Green, Frank Ntilikina. I mean, I'm looking at Frank Ntilikina like right now and saying, dude, bro, you were like starting a month ago?
Get a contract. Get a contract right now, Frank Ntilikina. Like, this is your shot.
So I wonder if that's going to be, hey, you're going to start getting more minutes now and all of that, or will it be Trey Burke because they need offense? I don't know, but I still expect them to be bring it full circle to the trade stuff, trade deadline. I still expect them to be really active coming up to the deadline. Whether that mean I mean really active as far as like talking to teams, really trying to add some pieces here and there for this playoff run. Because, I think this only. It's weird because I think this takes. I'm trying to formulate the thoughts on it. I think this takes away.
I believe in you.
I think this dampers the ability to pull off a bigger trade.
It does,
but it increases the odds of them making a trade. Did I say that right?
It does, yeah. Because you can't add Tim's salary to something and then all of a sudden it be, all right, that's $20 million you can add to a deal, right? Like that's a lot that you can add. But now the Mavs have a bigger need.
Yes.
Than they didn't before, right? Those are the two things that play in this situation. So, there we go. Anything else stand out to you from this game? Reggie Bullock has to hit a three, man. Like this, my guy has to.
He played more than 17 minutes. So
I have to apologize that you felt that he should have played more.
He did play more than 17 minutes, but he's got to hit a three.
Luka and Juan. I was curious about their relationship in this game, but it seemed fine. Since last game, Juan became his like.
Oh yeah, Juan Toscano Anderson. I forgot about him.
Random. Maxey hit a couple threes in this game. He had another three hit that was waved off because there was a foul before it.
This game was just so off. This felt like the Knicks game that the Mavs lost. Like you forget about. We say, oh, the Mavericks before this game had won 11 of their last 13. Okay, one of those two games they lost was this Knicks game where they played in MSG and just played absolutely like dog doo-doo. They played so badly, and this was basically that same night again. And so you'll take that, right? If every 15 games or so you're going to play that terribly, but you're going to win the ones in between, you would take that.
It was almost like it was agreed upon before, I mean,
the handshake before. But the Warriors are just back cutting the Mavericks to death. Guys are just missing assignments. You mentioned Tim missed an assignment. Like Bullock got back cut. Guys are just miscommunicating on things. It was just off all over the place in this game. And they were 10 of 40 from three. But they hit 18 of their 18 free throws, by the way, which is actually, I didn't realize they were 100% on those. And they only had 10 turnovers, so it wasn't that either. It was just that the half-court defense was absolutely bad. The Mavericks had, before garbage time, had 138.4 defensive rating. 138.4. That's so bad. The Mavericks, the last time they allowed over 120 was when? Do you know this?
No.
November 27th, that Washington Wizards loss.
Why would I know that?
Daniel Gafford just destroyed Porzingis on. November 27th, that's 2 months since the Mavericks have had a defensive game this bad. Their worst defensive game of the year, defensive rating wise. You have a guess?
I do not know.
No, November 2nd, the Miami game that they lost.
That was at the tip of my tongue.
That was that was their worst defensive game before tonight. Then it was that Wizards game, and then it was the Chicago game, November 10th. They had 121.9, and then it was that Denver game I think that was without Luka or without KP. October 29th, where they had 120. That's only 5 games out of this year they've had 120 defensive rating. So that's pretty good, but still an awful night, a night to forget overall. The Mavericks will move forward. We'll talk more about what the Tim Hardaway Jr. Injury means for this team. We'll also be breaking down the Portland Trailblazers game. The good thing about the NBA regular season is some nights you just get to replace it all with a game tomorrow. And if the Mavericks win that game in resounding fashion, we'll be feeling good again about them. So
we're back to normal.
We'll break that all down. We'll talk about it on tomorrow's Locked On Mavs. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen every day. Now go check out the Locked On NBA YouTube channel. We will have a trade deadline show. It will be great. So go check it out. Make sure you're there. Subscribe to the channel. Put on live alerts. Put on the bell. All that kind of stuff. I will also be hosting Locked On NBA tomorrow with Big Dave Watson. So go check that out as well. So go subscribe to that channel. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Loud Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.